Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us on this Sunday. My name's Tom Battinger. That's Ryan Bailey, otherwise known as Aggro. You know what time it is?
What time is it?
Finals time, baby.
That's my favorite time of the day.
Is it?
Yeah.
We've got finals. We might have two finals times, actually.
I know. If AstralAuthority are able to win this first best of five, that would trigger a second best of five, the full bracket reset. I don't know, man. They looked really, really rough against RvL yesterday. It's going to be tough for them to pull that off.
I mean, they lost in a total game time of 47 minutes, and they suffered a pentakill. Vaporish Coast just continued to do his thing. Every land Vaporish Coast has come to, he's gotten at least a quadra-kill.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Every single, just think about that.
Yeah.
We have players that have come for years and have yet to find a single one. Pentakid has come out, 2 pentakills and a quadra-kill, all 3 lands that he's come to. Fantastic performance. And you know what? It's one of those things where pentakills always come with like a grain of salt, like how much damage did you actually do? Or was it a fluke? Can you repeat it? You get quadra plus every land. I'm giving you all the credit in the world.
Yes, I mean, look, was that all him and his penta yesterday? No, I mean it was DineOhSaw hit like a 3 or 4 man knockup. Fly hit a 3-man strike through the wall, but somehow he still manages to get all the last hits and get the pentakill, and should be celebrated because of that.
I love it. I love it. I love the energy that this RvL team brings, and he's buying into the whole pentakid thing. He brings the juice box up on stage.
I love it.
I'm loving what this RvL team is doing on and off the battlefield. AstralAuthority, a squad that I used to be able to say that about. I love their teammates, and I still love them off the field. Don't get me wrong. But what we've seen on the actual battleground of the gods, as Tully likes to say, just has left me a little bit, I'm just not satiated watching these guys.
But that last set is like the teaser, right? It shows you what they are capable of. It's oBoronic making incredible plays. It's Layers with great pressure everywhere. Wolves is just unkillable.
Yeah.
I mean, he does so much for them. This is if they play like they just did against Flashpoint, they can absolutely take games off of RvL. I don't know if they can take 2 sets off of RvL back to back, especially considering they just played a set right before this, but they can do it.
Yeah, for me, it's all about Wolves and oBoronic. They had the day today that they didn't have on Saturday. And when you look at this squad, the right side of the screen is the old sort of guard, and then Inbowned and Cyprexa are the new plug-and-play players. And the dual lane looks fine. I mean, Griffin Slays, as he's formerly known, fine hunter, looks really good on the Chernobog. And Inbound, Bobby, certainly a star player in his own right. But for this team to win, Wolves and oBoronic specifically have to be playing on all cylinders, and I think we got a glimpse of that versus Flash.
And I just wonder if they're going to be able to – was that the confidence that they needed? Or are they still going to feel confident when they load in and see the exact 2 dudes who spanked them in their respective roles yesterday? You know what I mean? So they have to keep that up, and that's where guys like Inbound are there to be like, yo, dude, see what you just did to those guys? We're going to do it again here.
Yeah, Bobby's going to be a big part of what they're able to do, if they're able to do it, versus Team RvL. We caught up with these guys before their matchup today. Let's see what they've got to say for themselves.
I am here with RvL, going to be going up against here Astral in the grand finals. Before we get too much into that, though, y'all had such a climactic ending to that last set, so I do want to ask y'all a little bit about what were those comms like the last time y'all just got through playing Astral. When you get the big pentakill for Vaporish, you realized you're able to get a very easy set win, or at least it looks easy. What were y'all's mentality and comms like then?
Well, when Preds died and left, we were like, okay, we can go as far as we can. They backed. We were like, right, we can't fight 5. We started backing up. Tom and Coast got the massive just combo over the wall. Yes. So we all instantly turned around. We went on it. And once he got the triple, I said, Coast, I'm getting you the 4th. Took him up. We got him the 4th. And then as we saw Raijin, none of us decided to hit him. We were like, get it. We were just all screaming for him to get it. And then he got it and we was just all happy for him.
It must have been a really good feeling moment for you guys. But speaking of feelings, in the spring split, you guys had to battle your way through the lower bracket. How does it feel now that you're comfortably in the winners awaiting AstralAuthority?
It feels great. It's always quite difficult coming over here and seeing where we sit. Last LAN, it hit us a bit, the different metas and whatnot, different play styles. But no, this LAN, we're really comfortable. We feel like we're at the top, and we can see it in our performances.
All right, well, real quick, let me get y'all's prediction for what's the record be at the end of this. Going to be an easy 3-0 here for y'all in this set?
We're going to go for an undefeated summer.
Yeah.
I think that's the goal.
All right, well, good luck to y'all here in this match. It's been great watching y'all, and I look forward to seeing more games.
Thanks.
Hello and welcome back. Sorry about that. That was all my fault, actually.
It really was.
I was
Not
distracting production. Sorry about that transition. RvL, though, confident as ever, as they should be. I mean, these guys, it's so much fun to watch this team, and I'm very happy that they've wound up with this organization, because the organization and the gameplay are usually so far separated, but the storyline just happenstance. The storyline of console RvL follows directly the storyline of PC RvL, the old Cyclone GG guys. 5 players on the scene that nobody really heard of go from bad to okay to good to now pretty damn great, Ryan.
Yeah, they've been phenomenal, and it really is that stick-to-itiveness, if you will. You know, these guys have stuck around. Now, Rapio really the only one from the old RvL team. Remember, the rest of that team came from last year's Enix squad, who was really, really good last year as well, just missed making it to the World Championship. But another year of competitive experience under their belt, adding Rapio on has made all the difference in the world. I think that AstralAuthority needs to prove today, to me, that anyone is close to RvL right now.
Yeah, absolutely. With the way that we've seen them play, if you're just joining us for today, yesterday was day number 1 of the tournament. And, I mean, Smite games here usually go about 30, 35 minutes, and they lost game number 1 in 20 minutes and game number 2 in about 22, 23.
And don't forget the set that RvL played earlier that day against Flashpoint. Game 1 was 23 minutes, and then game 2 was like 24 minutes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they haven't gone even close to 30 minutes in a single game so far.
We're seeing scores like 14-1.
Yeah.
15-2. This team, when they do die, it's almost sacrificial on purpose. Like
it's often Predators going too far and trolling a little bit.
I'm down.
Yeah.
I'm down. I mean, he's sitting there, could call in 100-0. Give yourself 1 death so your team can get the tier 1 while you're in their fountain. Sure, buddy. I'm down. The level of dominance has been incredible. And these 2 players right here in the middle, oBoronic was the best mid laner for my money. And then Fly said, hey, what's up?
Yeah, Fly has that title right now for me. Even with how well oBoronic just played, consistency is what stands out for Fly in a positive light. Consistency is what stands out in a negative light sometimes for oBoronic. I mean, oBoronic's highs are just as high as anyone else, if not higher. But Fly is so good, so consistently, that I think that this is where Astral might want to put their resources, because against RvL, they tried pressuring duo lane. That was Flashpoint's strategy. Astral tried pressuring solo lane a little bit. Neither of those worked. No one's tried to put pressure on Fly yet, and I wonder if that's the secret.
Well, I mean, that's one of the things I love that you pointed out, his consistency, because RvL's middle laner has always been consistent. I talked about how they've elevated their level of play. He was always consistent, and we've just seen the bar raise, and he's just continuing to come out every day and give you what you expect to see. So Coach Joey in the back, though, I definitely want to bring him up as well. A lot of teams have coaches, but very rarely are the coaches as integrated to the team as Joey is. And again, showing a parallel to their PC team RvL, who have Alpha Jackal right there every single time. Hilariously, he won't be at the next LAN. Joey does a lot for this squad. Looking at the picks and bans, I guess it's not really hard homework to figure out that you have to ban out Odin versus Astral's Wolves, but no chance of seeing that nonsense. Astral ban out 2 Hunters. We see a Discordia first pick for RvL.
I do think that Joey is doing more than other coaches on the scene. Visions, I've heard a lot of good things about behind the scenes for AstralAuthority. Back last year when he was a part of Elevate. The dude can also play as well. He subbed in quite a bit for Kenshin last year and played very well in his stead. So I think this is probably the best 2 coaches in the scene right now going up head-to-head. And you know those 2 have a lot of pride, and we feel like we won picks and bans regardless of the outcome of this game. Athena Jingwei, a very, very early Jingwei pick.
Yeah.
Feels a little bit odd to me, though it is a pick that is great with Athena in lane. Athena can flex around for Astral. Wolves can absolutely play this. Even Layers can play this in the jungle.
Well, DineOhSaw is one. DineOhSaw loves to play the Geb.
Yes.
And Jingwei kind of deters the Geb selection. You can still pick Geb into Jingwei, but you're not going to have access to that knockup the same way you do versus other hunters, because she could just agility away. So by picking Jingwei this early, it might not completely negate the Geb selection, but it at least makes RvL think about it instead of snap picking DineOhSaw, the god that he's been so dominant with.
I wonder if RvL was expecting Astral to go for the Khepri, which they've gone for so often. And I think that might be exactly what Astral's looking for on this 3rd pick, is go Athena Jingwei, make RvL think that they've already taken their support, they'll take Geb or whatever, and that's exactly what they decide to go for. And then this could be a Khepri pick right before the 2nd ban phase, and then you give this Athena 2 Wolves or 2 Layers elsewhere on the map.
Yeah, I've seen Wolves play the Athena in the solo lane. The Osiris, though, will most likely be the solo laner of choice. Wolves, or excuse me, Layers. I mean, does he have the Athena jungle? Athena jungle is something that I think you've got to have control over at this point.
Yeah, I think he does. He played a lot of tank jungles last year, the Kabrakens and that kind of stuff, and did a lot of weird stuff. So I could certainly see it ended up working out. This Osiris pick, this is the pick that Astral went to in Game 2 yesterday up against RvL, where Wolves had a lot more pressure. It was constant camping on the Predators from Layers as well. And eventually it just didn't matter because Fly and Vaporous were so far ahead that the Osiris really couldn't contest anymore. It was a very aggressive build from Wolves that game. I wonder if it's going to be the same idea where it's going to be a camp solo sort of strategy, but they're going to dedicate it a little bit earlier. Remember when Layers started coming over in that last game of their set 2, it was kind of towards the mid game. If they try and do it early, maybe that would work out a little bit better.
Astral with the correct bans, if you ask me. Taking away the Hercules and the Cucullin, 2 characters that Predators looks completely unbeatable on. I say that knowing Wolves is easily the number 2 solo laner in this league, but Predators, the distance between 1 and 2 when he's playing those 2 picks, Ryan, I sincerely believe you can't beat him with those 2 gods.
Yeah, but his Cerberus yesterday was absurd. I mean, the Cerberus still on the table here. I doubt that Astral's going to take it away in this
They only
spot.
have 2 bans.
I know, but and then you're leaving open Ratatosker for Rapio, the Robin that he loves to play, the Naja. I mean, this is what good teams do to you. They make you feel like you don't have an answer. That we can give them this, but then we give them that. You know, it's really difficult to pick and ban against a team like RvL, specifically whenever they get their picks that they've consistently been going for, Discordia, Geb, Hachiman, off the table early. So that now the 2 players that have been more flexible have their 2 picks towards last. Plus, Astral now, let's say they do pretty well, or maybe they get stomped in the next game, regardless of the outcome, then they start to ban away the Discordia, Geb, Hachiman. That just opens the door even more for Predators and Rapio. So you really are stuck between a rock and a hard place.
Mercury into the Geb, not always the number 1 situation you want to go into. Mercury obviously going to be building crit. Geb passive, sure, but also the shield's going to sort of negate a lot of the damage that he brings. Even still, I like the Mercury selection. I think he's an incredibly strong jungler at the moment, and this weekend we haven't really seen him, and I've been asking a lot of questions about that, so I am glad to see Layers bring this one out. Is it going to be as strong as we want it to be, Ryan?
I think it very well could be. I think this is a pick that camps solo very well in the early game. You can camp dual lane very easily. And then you have that late game safety valve of, I'll just crit you for $1 million at this point. So I think Mercury can be fine. Surprised that Serket wasn't an option there that they went for. Honestly, that could be a selection for RvL at this point. Serket getting all the way through.
I love Serket specifically against some of these other characters like Athena. She wants to ultimate out away. The dot damage is going to do big work there. Just a reminder, folks, the graphic does at the top say best of 3. That's a lie. It's a best of 5 this time around, and it can be a bracket reset. So if Astral actually win this best of 5, we're going to go to another one. It's going to be a lot of fun. These 2 players, the junglers, Rapio. Now it's the truth. Best of 5 up there on top. Ratatosker up there in the jungle. And as I said, Rapio going to be a focal point. And as you said, Cerberus, still just as scary.
This is just an easy final 2 picks for RvL. What did we dominate with yesterday? Everything we played. What did we play yesterday? Ratatosker, Cerberus. Okay, let's just pick it because why not? Rapio is often the lifeblood of this team. If he gets off to another good start on this Ratatosker, Astral is just going to fold.
Well, with RvL here, as Raijin is picked, and that is a very, very, when I say light in the darkness for Astral, I mean this is a bright beacon. This is 1,000 lumens. Raijin with Boronic. I don't know whose name I want to put first because he is Raijin. His Raijin play has been fantastic this split.
Yeah, but the Thoth he just played was so just dominant against Flashpoint. We've seen he played Raijin against RvL yesterday and was a complete non-factor. I do not... Giannis is open. Thoth is open. Both of those gods, I think, are better for Boronic than this Raijin. I do not like this selection.
So, trying to get inside the player's mind a little bit, I think Giannis I probably would have preferred, but I think Raijin can get over walls. Hachiman can't follow him. You know what I mean? So I think that might be the idea. It's technically a little bit safer than the Thoth.
Sure, but Thoth does 1 million damage, and Boronic literally killed everyone by himself the last time he played it against Flashpoint. So he was Thoth, much like every mid laner, I say it all the time, rhythm character. Raijin doesn't really feel that way to me. I mean, yeah, you can get into the flow of playing Raijin, which is kind of ironic because
He's
like
the
all
rhythm section.
But I don't know. He doesn't have those quick line skill shots. You have to snap back and forth between multiple targets. His cooldowns are not quite as in sync as, say, Thoth's cooldowns can be at times when you build the right amount of CDR, and you always have your wall up whenever you have your one up and things like that, where you don't even need to be looking at your cooldown bar. I just think that Raijin is really, really, really good, but we've seen Boronic play it. It was completely unimpressive. He has played the Thoth today, and it was the best he's played all day, all weekend.
Very true.
Why not go to it?
That's fair. That is very fair. Here, I think Astral realized it's going to be a longer set. They want to try a couple of different things out. Raijin, you're not trying Chiron mid here. You're doing something that you do know that you are strong at. Maybe not your number one. There could be some set science behind that thought process. But I think this is absolutely RvL's, not just game, but set, honestly, to lose. RvL, I think, it makes sense. They're just defending at this point, where they go, this is our draft. We drafted it yesterday. We drafted it before yesterday. We drafted it during the entire split, and nobody beat us. Can you beat us yet? Because we're still going to draft the Ratatasker, the Cerberuses. We're going to do the same thing. There are no secrets in this draft, but it doesn't matter. Can you beat us anyway?
Exactly, and that's why this very early Jingwei pick seems a little bit weird, but that's probably because Astral knew they were going to ban away solos in the second phase, and then that Predators would probably pick up Cerberus, and that Jingwei can agility away from Stygian Torment very easily. And I just don't think RvL cares. I think that's a great point. They literally haven't lost during the summer split at all.
Prove me wrong. That's what they're saying.
Yeah, show me.
Show me. Show me who you think is going to win. Astral or their opponents or Team RvL. I'm going to ask you how lopsided you think the vote's going to be, because I think that while Astral are notoriously a fan favorite, I think that RvL have won a lot of hearts in chat over.
Yeah, I'll guess 67%
really?
for RvL.
I'm gonna go a little bit more aggressive.
Oh yeah?
I'm gonna say similar to your number, maybe a little bit higher.
What number would that be, Tom?
I'm gonna say 69% are Team RvL fans.
Okay, not that far off. So
yeah,
just
a little bit more.
Just a little bit more.
Like working price or right stuff. Not gonna go over, but still get it.
Yeah. That's so you'd be that scumbag on Prices Right. I got you.
Betting $1.
Yeah, that's you.
Just sitting there, $1.
If AstralAuthority are going to win this game, they need to be using this Athena Global Pressure in conjunction with Sonic Boom to gank lanes early on. I don't think that RvL is going to let you sit around and farm up to the mid to late game. This is a very aggressive team, and the usual trope for the SPL is that NA is hyper aggressive, Europe is very passive. Not the case here. NA is aggressive here in the console league. Europe, in the form of Team RvL, is 3 times as aggressive. And it shows in their game times that they've had, not just during this LAN, but all split long. So Astral can't expect to get to late game for free with this Mercury.
Rat is ganking the dual lane, possibly before his ultimate's up. Like, that is going to happen. Rapio has been showing a lot of presence there on the left-hand side. All right, we've got the poll results in, and it's
86%.
86%.
So just a little bit of a thing for you guys at home. The camera kind of cuts off our results, and Tom can only see the 14% for AstralAuthority, but still moved his entire body to the left side of the camera. There's only 2 options, right? Like, if you see 14 on one, that means 86 on the other.
I mean, maybe there was a secret. Maybe there was
a third option,
write-in option.
Yeah,
it's Astral, RvL, or other.
I don't understand why that would ever be the case. That's clearly going to be 2, but that's okay. That's all right. AstralAuthority looking to try and bounce back, and I've already talked about that Mercury. It's not going to get to late game for free. This Osiris pick is there to try and temper some of that aggression, I think, out of RvL. The early game guy who can mess you up in the early stages, and that's probably why they went for Raijin instead of the Thoth, because it is more early game focused, then does a little bit more in the early stages. But I still think that Thoth does enough in the early game and then can bail you out of bad situations when you're already behind in the later stages.
That's true.
Than Raijin can. Raijin needs to be ahead in order to feel very effective.
Another point for Raijin here, as I kind of play Astral advocate, is Geb. right? The Geb Shield just negates the CC that Thoth can bring. The Geb Shield, on the other hand, through Raijin's repeated 4-shot ultimate, if you're using the CC component, Geb's going to be a little bit less powerful at negating that crowd control because Geb is going to be a very big thorn in the side of Astral in general. Tom DineOhSaw, his Geb has been fantastic for this squad. So, I mean, I'm just trying to find any little bit to really sort of justify this Raijin selection because at the end of the day, I think I do agree that Thoth might have been the better fit, but Astral have succeeded with the Raijin.
They have, and just not against Rival. And no one has succeeded against Rival.
And knowing these guys, you and I know Astral very well.
Yeah.
They didn't accidentally pick the Raijin.
No.
This was a choice above the Thoth. We might not agree, but I am very curious, and I don't know if I'll get a chance to speak to the players in between 1 and 2, but I am very curious to see why we don't see the Thoth.
And not surprised that Athena was picked very highly, but the Khepri that was so highly prioritized through NA, not picked or banned here. So if things don't go well for Astral, I think we'll see a return to that Khepri.
Yeah, RvL and Astral are going to be a really tall task in front of us, honestly. Best of 5 this time around with the potential for even more games. RvL and Astral Grand Finals for the Console Summer Finals. Finch and Toley, take us away.
Here we are, Team RvL up against Astral. Grand Finals here for the Smite Console Summer LAN. And so far, RvL have just looked dominant. No losses online, no losses here at the actual LAN event. AstralAuthority, who've already lost to them once, stand their opponents across the way.
There's something about the RvL organization as a whole, whether it's PC or console, that's looking so dominant. Whatever's in the European water, I want to be drinking it because in the spring split, it was a little bit different story for RvL, where they had to battle their way through the lower bracket. They lost to Astral in that very first round, and then they had to battle their way back up. Interesting start coming from Astral because I don't think that they feel confident enough to battle RvL head on, so they're going for this little shenanigan play.
Of course they can do this because they've got the Jingwei, they've got the Osiris. So if Wolves, Wolves could teleport right back if need be, then it could be very easy for Cyprexa to return as well. Why not go for this early quick farm? They do end up leaving Inbound in the back end to just try and grab those back harpies, it looks like. Cyprexa is going to come to his red buff, but I don't think there's a punish for this. Astral should get away with this start very easily.
The red buff invade, it's important for RvL to recognize this, and after clearing this wave, to immediately look for an invade on their own. Doesn't have to be red, could also be the purple. Look for any sort of advantage once the laning phase resets.
And look at this, Wolves is ahead. That's just free farm that he got. Could be a little bit of trouble though. He's level 2. Rapio is coming to try and grab their own blue buff, but Wolves going to be able to chase him out successfully. DineOhSaw and Vapor's Coast, they at least attempted to strip the purple buff away, but they don't have it. Looks like Inbound was able to defend.
Great recognition from Astral, defending their own blue buff, or at least invading it rather, as Predator is stuck between a rock and a hard place, trying to get to his own tier 1 tower, and he's going to get first blooded.
This is the absolute start AstralAuthority needed. Wolves got his first blood over Predators. Layers dropping some taunts out as well. Astral come out of the gate firing with an interesting start. Now we've got a 2v2 on the duo lane side of the map. DineOhSaw has the Geb shield, takes a little bit more free poke, should be safe for the RvL duo lane now, but a bit reeling are the boys in the purple hoods after Astral coming out of the gates with a very interesting start.
Doing their homework, not revealing their hand against their former opponent Flashpoint, playing a little more standard against the North Americans, realizing that these Europeans a little too difficult, so they have to throw them a big, strong curveball. Now, the start from Rapio was speed buff to back camps to blue, and because it took him so long to do the first 2 camps, he couldn't secure the third one with Wolves hitting level 2, instantly rotating on, actually even rotating before the wave was completed. Had Rapio ignored the back camps and went straight to his blue, I think the opening start from Astral gets heavily negated.
Now it's RvL who are on the back foot early, and this is not the way they've gotten used to playing here so far. Almost every game this event, Vapor's Coast has either been heavily focused or gotten heavy focus from his own jungler. Rapio in particular has been rotating over to help get him ahead so he can make those big highlight plays because he knows how well Vapor's Coast can play with that lead. This time, they might have to come by it a little bit more honestly here, totally, because they're starting off on the back foot.
Well, solo lane going down, or at least a jungle/solo combination, not the biggest deal in the world as long as as your hunters and mid laners are still in tow, which it seems that they are, then we can see some more pressure in the mid game out of RvL.
A big rotation. AstralAuthority not even going to let them grab red buffs for free at this point. Rapio has to retreat, and I think he, along with Predators, are going to be the ones who are going to be struggling from this start the most. They're losing farm from the jungle. Predators, of course, end up taking that spill. It has not been easy for the two of them to try and stay on their normal jungle timers, and for Predators to stay on his normal build path, as now blue buff being invaded.
Some early game aggression continuing from Astral, denying Rapio the red, denying Rapio the blue buff. Predators with no mana in that solo lane can't even make that rotation to defend his own buff. He used it to clear the wave, which actually denies Wolves some golden experiences. He's backing, but realizing that right around the corner is Layers to cover that option, he's going to allow the level 5 Mercury to reach his global ultimate.
Yeah, in fact, look at this. Wolves already has the Warrior's Blessing done as well. It's not just that the farm is being stripped away, the blue buff not there available for him either. I mean, at this point in the game, he's able to do, he has so much more pressure in the lane. He's going to be so much tankier, going to be getting some of the HP back as well. It's so easy for Osiris to stack it. Not even at the 4-minute mark, he's going to have the advantage.
And with the first blood, he just built his Warrior's Blessings even further.
So
already about 7 stacks ahead of his opposition. That's 70 full seconds difference, where Predators is not going to have that 15 physical / magical protections to deal with the aggression from Wolves. And Wolves can easily battle this Guardian solo laner, physical jungler, considering he already has that evolution completed.
This early start from Astral definitely giving them an advantage. One more place is materialized is that Layers is going to be hitting that level 5 first. The last time they played, Layers could not keep up with Rapio's early pressure. It was Rapio making all the moves. This time, Layers has that opportunity. Where does he want to look to go? Right now, it's going to be to his speed buff, but does he want to come cause problems for Predators again? Maybe try Fly in mid or come over to duo?
He needed to hit that middle wave to share the experience with Fly so that he can grant himself his own global ultimate. Red buff has respawned for RvL, only inbound around the corner with a nice unruly magic. Will confirm it. Astral were not really interested in denying another red buff.
Not this time. Able to come over and at least get it defended for Team RvL to try and stabilize. This is already given for AstralAuthority about, what, 1,500 gold in the lead just at that 5-minute mark, along with 1,500 experience to go along with it. And it is going to be time for the aggression. Rapio is up in the air. He knocks up Wolves. Nothing lands on the Layers. Defender of Olympus does get forced out from inbound in response, so they will be able to strip the blue buff, but no one ends up falling.
That burst, though. Layers able to strip away the blue buff before Rapio can even land through the Cosmos being used. But on the flip side, Defender of Olympus from inbound just for good measure, assuming that there was going to be a team fight around the corner. Nice little double taunt from inbound, setting up oBoronic, but he's not really hitting his shots.
No, not going to be going in his favor there in the mid lane. So everyone ends up falling back. AstralAuthority can't find much. This early start from them has worked. It's sort of netted an early lead for Wolves. He's been able to repeatedly invade blue. The red buff invades are kind of dropped off. So yes, Astral came out of the gates with a good start, but now comes the response. A big ultimate from Layers. Sets up an immediate kill on arrival. Double kill for oBoronic. AstralAuthority making waves here in the mid lane.
That's some teamwork right there for you. Baiting out your Guardian ever so slightly, inbound going in. The strike from Fly trying to zone away oBoronic was not really enough. The percussive storm was still good enough, and man, that sonic boom from a distance between the tier 1 and tier 2 Layers, anticipating that aggression from a mile away.
And inbound initially goes in with that taunt. It's a good response from DineOhSaw, right? That's what we started to see more and more from enemy supports when Athena's dash in for the taunt, is they respond with Cataclysm, Stygian Torment, their own ultimates for the CC immunity and to sort of just stop her in her tracks. But this time it gets read perfectly. Layers with that response sets up oBoronic for the big-time drum solo and puts them both down.
And with all this chain CC combination, this sprint is not going to do anything if you're constantly getting CC'd. A shell would be a little bit better to absorb some of this incoming damage, especially when you need to upgrade it to absorb those 2 stacks.
Another fight at red buff. Already low is oBoronic, but so are Cyprexa and oBoronic. They took a good bit of poke on the side. Rapio goes up in the air. He wants Raijin, but he goes up into the Tycho drum. Cyprexa working with him, deletes him immediately. oBoronic finds a kill of his own. It is a rotation over from Fly to at least get Cyprexa on the backside. 2 for 1 in favor of Astral yet again.
Man, oBoronic dealing so much damage in that last engagement, taking care of Rapio and Vaporishkos that was feeling himself on the mounted archery, trying to do what they can. Yes, Boronic is super slow when he starts banging those taiko drums, but does he deal a lot of damage, and RvL feeling it there.
And I gotta think that that initial poke they got onto Boronic might even have worked against them with the Bancroft's Talon rush that he goes into. So yes, Rapio drops down with through the Cosmos, but because he's in the drums, he doesn't get knocked up. He's immediately returning damage. Plus, it's just more damage because of the way the Bancrofts work. It's a perfect turnaround from Astral. They've been playing so well, clearly not shaken after their rough game against RvL yesterday.
A little bit of lifesteal, never a bad thing. Wolves still being hyper-aggressive here, dropping the tether. A good little jump from Predators at the last moment, but he's still receiving a lot of poke damage. And Wolves thinking about diving this. He has Lord of the Afterlife, the minions absorbing the tower shots, but I don't think he's going to extend to the tier 2.
No, Predators recognizing this is a possibility has just full-on retreated all the way at the back of his own tier 2 tower because Wolves has just that much control. Ultimate lands on the DineOhSaw. Geb never had a chance. Boronic finds his 4th kill of the game. Oracle should fall. Astral might even have a chance to go for the gold Fury, and that's going to be the call.
Wow.
Cyprexa pulls it initially. Fly rotating over along with Coast.
Coast right around the corner. Keep in mind where Rapio is from the mid lane. He has to the Cosmos to be used. The Apple connect onto Boronic, dealing a lot of damage. Gold Fury goes down, and RvL secure it!
Rapio has a perfect play. Coast comes in and removes Inbound early on. Boronic can't get his damage off either. Double kill for Vaporish Coast. He is going to end up falling, but Rapio took away the gold Fury. Fly takes down Layers. 3 for 1, and RvL answer back.
Oh my goodness. AstralAuthority, they were up about 6-1 before starting up that gold Fury after the kill that they had on DineOhSaw. With the one-man advantage that they had, knowing that DineOhSaw was dead, realizing that Predators had to back on the right side, they made a calculated play, but it just did not work out for them. Predators, though, trying to defend his own blue buff, ultimately getting punished.
Now, they do end up getting that important return kill on the Predators to just keep this Cerberus down. This is one area that, even though RvL just made a great play around the Gold Fury that they absolutely needed, that they're going to have issues. Once Wolves able to start rotating over to these fights and be more impactful than Predators, Astral, that early start for them really going to start rearing its ugly head. Yes, there is that jungle disparity, but this, I feel like, is really the biggest issue.
So I just made 2 notes saying, like, crazy great steal from Rapio with an exclamation point, but then I put a little question mark as to why Boronic was zoning in the first place against Fly.
Yeah.
Missing the Raijin damage against the Gold Fury is a big deal, and had Boronic's damage been on the Gold Fury instead of Fly, maybe Astral secure that one and keep this game still a little bit more dominant. Now, granted, Astral's still up about 2,000 gold, but it could have been more.
No beats, no ultimate for Vaporish Coast, and that is all they wrote. Layers happy to shut down the Penta Kid after he styled on them a little bit yesterday. A little bit of revenge coming out from Astral as they've shut him down now 3 times, most deaths in the game for this Hachiman. Still level 10 though, keeping relatively even with Cyprexa, but that might change if this tier 1 tower gets threatened.
It seems that Astral are reading RvL like a book, realizing that the Europeans are really playing around their Hunter, trying to protect them so heavily with some of these Geb shields, but they're not going to allow this Hunter to get to the lane game. They're going to focus this dual lane with everything they got.
DineOhSaw ends up falling, trying to defend the tier 1. Fly did make the rotation over, but he's too little too late, at least to save the life of his support. The tier 1 tower should remain standing, but they've already given him up, and now Pyromancer being taken by Astral as well. Layers and Wolves are here. Boronic for the confirmation as well. Predator's not going to be able to have much say.
Predator's just a little bit too far behind in the experience department. He's 3 levels struggling against Wolves with all his blue buffs getting taken away. Still deciding to do something about this with the rotation from Inbound, now in a 1v3.
Yeah, how many times does Inbound have to Defender of Olympus onto the face of Predators for him to expect that that might end up happening? He just can't defend this blue buff any longer, Tully.
Without a tier 1 tower, he has no little safety shell to go under. The global pressure from not only Layers, but Inbound has to be in the back of every rival's heads to deal with that. And tier 2 even being looked at. Layers dealing so much burst damage. Hasten Katana for the extra mobility.
Wow.
AstralAuthority are out of this world. 12 minutes in a tier 2 tower, almost unheard of.
Now it is about a 5,000 gold lead here 12 minutes into the game. That's pretty substantial in Astral's favor. A little bit of the reason why they had room to go for that was because Rapio and some of the other members of RvL were looking for the red buff invade. Boronic came over, couldn't defend that in time. So Astral come out with obviously the much more important objective. opening up that tier 2 tower, making it harder for Predators to have safety in solo, as well as getting some global gold.
And this is the thing that I was talking about on the desk in the last set. It's like RvL are going into this set cold. Astral are going into this set very warmed up. They are already in line with their settings, their flicking shots and whatnot, where RvL are getting thrown this curveball from the start. So they're just having to answer so many questions, and 12 minutes in, being down about 6,000 gold. Not a good start for these spring split defending European champions.
And think about how they lost, Toli, right? The first game they play the Loki, and Rapio gets out to an insane start early. They were never in it.
True.
And game 2, they lose it all at once off that big play from Vapor's Coast and Fly.
Yes.
Right? So if you really think about it, Astral can kind of come into this set feeling like they never really got beat in a long, drawn-out game, right? In a certain way of thinking about it. Their heads are clearly in the right spot here.
Now, granted, RvL have a lot of room for margin of error.
Yes.
This is one best of 5 where RvL can afford to lose in its own right. Now, I'm not putting the towel in for RvL anytime soon
Not
here,
at all. Yeah.
because even if they lose this game, still need to win 2 more for Astral to clean up this set. And I think RvL can easily still bounce back, but it's not looking pretty for RvL. They need to find ways to not allow the game to slip beyond their control. Golfier respawning in 10 seconds. RvL stole away the first one. They need to do something about this second.
Yeah, this is the one that could start to be that kind of backbreaker, to go from where RvL could fight into these fights where things can be out of control. Defender of Olympus from Inbound means he's going to be here for the fight. Rapio, Vapor's Coast, DineOhSaw want to rotate in, but Inbound and Wolves have other things to say. Rapio does get taunted in, has to use through the Cosmos, but doesn't even make it up to the tree. Layers erases him quickly.
The beads were perfectly timed to prevent the knockup out of Jingwei, but just too much burst damage. Astral don't even really commit any sort of global ultimates or relics to find the kill, and now they secure themselves their own first Gold Fury. And as the game progresses, every minute that Gold Fury becomes more valuable.
Yeah, 7,000 gold, 7,000 experience are very near that. Astral now firmly in control. They grab the tier 1 tower in mid lane, and if you're RvL, you can sort of, I feel like, take this calmly, because Astral were the ones with all the pressure. They had to come in and prove that they could hang up against you, because you're the one that just came in looking so good yesterday. Astral have shown that. They had their interesting start. Now you got to make that adjustment as Inbound goes in for the taunt.
Gav getting knocked up. DineOhSaw trying to deal what he can, setting up a play for Rapio in the backline, landing, but Predators very low, trying to retrieve oBoronic with a hot kill.
Predators ends up falling, as does DineOhSaw. The front line has been all but removed. RvL Fly and Vapor's Coast can't move back in. Astral get another clean 2-0 fight. I mean, and that time, it's just they're running into the lead, right? DineOhSaw and Predators are not tanky.
Despite being that close to their tier 2 tower, it's just too much burst damage from Astral to even safely escape their clutches. It's the North Americans that are really starting to dominate and playing their lead. Like you said, Finch, RvL cannot be taking these team fights any longer. Now this is the point where RvL need to consider some split push possibilities, get some more experience to get themselves into that late game form.
And I know that RvL are down a lot of gold, but I mean, their defense potential's not too bad. The Discordia Stripe can always be good as well. I mean, Toli, how are RvL feeling if Astral grab this FG and now they're the ones sieging?
I mean, it's possible for them to defend, but it's unlikely that Astral are going to slow down
they've really pushed the pace.
Because of all the experience lead. I'm looking mostly at the supports and the jungle difference. 4-level deficit between Rapio and Layers, 2 levels between Bobby and DineOhSaw. And look at the builds also. A double aura from Bobby going for sovereignty for the physical protection HP 5, and also this extra attack speed from Shogun's Kusari, really allowing both Mercury and Jingwei to pop off. And on the flip side, DineOhSaw going for his own aura, but he needs those stacks. Gauntlet of Thieves taking a little too long, only with 7 stacks. It's going to take him so much longer to complete it.
It's going to be difficult for DineOhSaw. I mean, the 7-stack Gauntlet of Thieves not doing a whole lot for you at this point, as he's also working on, it appears to be the tier 1 of Sovereignty, so it's not an easy life for him. 0-4 and 0. Same line for Predators. They've both just been targets this game. And similarly to what happened with Astral, it happened so quickly because of that early start. They never really had a chance to respond. This game's not over yet, but Astral grabbed their early lead quickly and have not let go.
And with only 8 stacks for DineOhSaw, he needs 42 more, which is 7 waves. 3.5 minutes of perfect farming in order to accomplish this. But I don't think AstralAuthority are going to allow any sort of stacking if they're pushing down those last remaining tier 2 towers, and potentially a Phoenix if they can find a pick.
Yeah, that would be the absolute fastest he can get it done. And Astral not going to let anything be easy here for Team Rival, who are positioning like, I'm not even sure they want to defend this Phoenix. They're so far back. Shots are coming out from Vaporish Coast. Taunt onto DineOhSaw. He does drop Cataclysm, but dies immediately. Inbound barely gets poked for it. Predators has to fall back, but AstralAuthority already in a 5v4, and the mid Phoenix will come down.
This might be the fastest game of this tournament if Astral continue to play like this. DineOhSaw did not stand a chance whatsoever. He just doesn't have the resiliency to deal with. This is the pros and cons of the items that you go for. When you are not winning the mid game, there's no time to really be stacking, and it's a risk versus reward. And thus far, Bobby getting all of the reward with the Sovereignty Shogun's Kusari rush.
Once again, Astral not quite, or rather Rival not quite in position to defend, but they do want to go in. Rapio's up in the air through the Cosmos is the plan. He knocks up Inbound, who's low, but DineOhSaw falls immediately. Predators does get the other support, so it's 1-for-1 so far. Wolves is low, and Fly defends this time. Another kill. Cyprexa does get Predators in response, so it's 2-for-2. Cyprexa goes in aggressive.
Feeling himself is Cyprexa as the agility's on in. The taiko drums from oBoronic doing a lot of work there. It looked like Rival were about to win that team fight, but holding on to that ultimate. oBoronic making it look very suspicious.
Yeah, not going to be able to find the Phoenix that time. Rival finally totally showing some signs of life here by making that defense happen and at least able to get the punish off onto Wolves and Inbound. They do end up losing Fly as well, and that mid Phoenix, but they finally slow down this push from Astral at least once and have a chance to try and slow down and regroup.
Astral definitely feeling themselves a little too much. Wolves zoning for as long as he can. Bobby couldn't really escape after getting knocked up from Rapio. It was a good mounted archery from Vaporish trying to find that a third kill potentially onto oBoronic, but those taiko drums really stopped him in his tracks. So 19 minutes into the game, 18-6 to read the kills for Astral. Still up a commanding 13,000 gold.
Yes, Rival may have defended that, but by no means am I implying this is swung back in Rival's favor. Astral still very much in control. Rival would need to make something like that happen several times over, and even cleaner, to be frank, if they want to try and grab this game back. It's only 19.5 minutes in. The experience lead is still very much relevant, as no one on Astral has even hit level 20 yet. They still have an experience lead to grow at this point as Predators gets caught out on his own. Wants to jump over the wall, but Lord of the Afterlife will follow, and he got stunned before the jump. Inbound, Defender of Olympus is going to bring in more damage.
Trying to set it up. The taunt is good, but the Sonic Boom is even better. Wolves getting credited with this third kill of the game, the 6th death out of Predators. This early game pressure from AstralAuthority really snowballing in this game because of the teleport. It was a great proxy farming between Tier 2 and Phoenix, and that's a difficult thing to do when teams are grouping up together, trying to drop their early game wards. Rival now need to be a little bit more mindful about that early start, and that could leave Astral for game numbers 2 or 3 to still slow down the pacing. They don't have to go as ham in the future games after winning this one.
No, I think it was very important they came out and got this game 1 victory. I think that's why we saw them kind of put their cards on the table with that new strat, as they were able to kind of catch Rival off guard, and they have not been able to recuperate since. They did commit quite a few ultimates to hit that kill on the Predators, but they're waiting on the fire giant to come back up anyway, totally. I don't think it's a big deal. It was 54 seconds away when they ended that kill. They're going to fall back, grab it. No way Rival can come defend. They should have everything back and be ready to rock again when they move in against Rival's base.
Just the base health and protections you get from having this level differential is enough without those 3 ultimates. Keep in mind, they're also up at least a Tier 3 luxury item each. So those 3 ultimates, sure, Astral would like to have them in a straight-up 5-on-5, but when you take out Predators, that's a lot of slows you don't have to worry about through the Ghastly Breath, the knock-up through the Stygian Torment, displacing any sort of Astral members, and they know that they can rest easy to get their second Fire Giant uncontested. 1,200 crit.
It's a lot. Crit is indeed now coming out for Layers here at this point in the game. Even with the Thorns up on Predators, he's such a non-factor for Astral at this point in the game that he's undeterred. Neither is Cyprexa, who on the Jingwei often is going to be leaning into the crit anyway with the explosive bolts. But at this point, AstralAuthority feel undeterred. They can go whatever path they want to. Mid Phoenix has respawned, but that will almost certainly be the target for them as they want to bring that weakened Phoenix down one more time.
There's just one more lane to really go through, and that's getting that Tier 2 tower on the left side. Furthest away from the Fire Giant. We'll see if that's the option, but probably going to be more inclined to go for the middle Phoenix, considering that after the respawn, it's in a weakened state and a lot easier to demolish. Astral kind of splitting the uprise by keeping Layers on the right side. That Sonic Boom linear global ultimate is good about going from right to left.
4 members pushed in from Astral. Emperor's Armor is in effect. Predators grabs Inbound and pulls him in, but dies immediately. Cyprexa erases him from the game. A big knockup comes out from Rapio, but there's no follow-up. Cataclysm lands, but DineOhSaw gets removed as well. Rapio in a little bit of trouble. Does have Aegis, but not going to be enough. He's juking for his life, but Cyprexa on a rampage and finds a double kill. Vaporous Coast, the only one standing. The Pinnakid's good, but I don't know if he's this good totally. Mid-Phoenix falls, and Titan sure to fall.
It'll be a miracle if the one lone gun can stop this, using an Aegis to stop the damage from Layers. First game goes to Astral.
And they needed this one totally, and they do it in commanding fashion. 23 minutes, Layers popping up a little bit, stands up and yelling. We could see he really wanted the win. He was taunting all game long when they got their kills, feeling good, letting them know it's not going to be free here, RvL. Astral came to play. Very worthy of the grand finals here, these two teams.
They didn't show their hand against Flashpoint. Very important that they keep their strategy hidden for the more formidable opponent. This European squad is no joke, honestly. They defeated both Flashpoint and AstralAuthority 2-0, but now this is the test that they have to go through. With this one loss, they're down 0-1. They have to win 3 games out of the remaining 4 to find their summer championships.
Yeah, not going to be easy for them. And you saw the room there, that RvL room, for the first time, a little shell-shocked, a little disjointed perhaps even. I mean, yeah, they did not seem to know exactly what the response was in that moment, but they have to recover. Maybe they can't have a perfect summer split, but they absolutely can still win and look dominant doing it. So change gears, go into this game too. I mean, can that same strat work against them again? Probably not, right?
I don't think RvL are going to allow that strategy to go through uncontested.
Yeah.
If Astral want to proxy between Tier 2 and Phoenix, I think that it's going to get scattered out long before it happens, and there might be an early level 1 scuffle.
You know, let's see if that ends up being what it ends up happening in game 2, but let's go back to game 1. I know who y'all's MVP was for that one. I think you could certainly make a case for Layers. He had an impressive game throughout the early start, as did Wolves, just dominating Predators all game long.
Honestly, whoever made that call to proxy
is
got to be the MVP for RvL, whether that's Coach Joey or otherwise. Great collective effort. It's a team game. It's a team effort to make a strategy, make picks and bans happen, and then show what you got on the battlefield. And this game 1, Astral making it happen. I'm still looking back at that proxy farming, and it worked out so well because Rapio didn't adapt fast enough because he did his blue into back camps, or sorry, his speed into back camps, and by the time he got to the blue, he was already getting contested by a level 2 Osiris while he was only a level 1 Ratatasker.
That really was the big difference, right? That Wolves was able to get that extra level and could kind of defend that blue. So things out of control in a hurry. But Tola, you and I could talk about that start all day long. Let's go ahead and get over to the analysts who are standing by, and we'll get their thoughts on it.
Hey, what's up, friends? Some people define sandbagging as to deliberately perform at a lower level than you were expected. Is that what Astral been doing all weekend?
No. Okay. They just came out with an actual strategy this time.
Because that was, I mean, to say night and day is doing it a disservice, I think. This was a completely different team than we've seen last match versus Flashpoint. They even looked worse. This was the Astral that I expected to see during this LAN. At least we're getting in here during the finals. But where was it yesterday?
Focused. They came in focused here with a strategy that RvL wasn't ready for this time. I do think that proxy farm was really, really important. That's Rapio kind of drops the ball a little bit in that spot. As soon as you see that that's happening, you have to expect that they're going to your red buff. And so you should go speed straight to red in that instance. And that is still a viable start in general.
Sure.
It does put your solo a bit behind, but he was already behind. Predators was an absolute non-factor in this game. And I think that, as I mentioned, they take Jingwei early, knowing that Predators is likely going Cerberus. And the Osiris and everything like that, they all knew he was going Cerberus and that they could punish him for it, given the right opportunity.
Absolutely. And I mean, the Cerberus just wasn't able to do what it did in the past. Astral, though, multiple players, not just a bunch, 200 gold per minute above some of the other players on RvL. They just weren't able to get off of the ground. 3-1-12 for the solo laner. Wolves is going to be your most valuable player. And frankly, Ryan, sure, I don't necessarily disagree. This was a team victory, though, for Astral, which I think is the biggest point to drive home.
It was. And Layers got off to a good start early on and was spam taunting from the very beginning. And the most important thing to me is that every single time I would look at the player cams. Astral was laughing.
Yes.
They were having fun, and they were relaxed, and that is so critical. And sometimes you do need, you know, your teammate to just be kind of an ass and spam taunt them and laugh and, you know, say all this stuff in the comms. I mean, there's a reason we don't show comms all the time because some stuff gets said that you don't necessarily mean. It's just you're in the heat of the moment. And that's kind of what you need. You know, you need the guy to be like, how did we lose to these guys? These guys are trash. Like, we are way better than them. And even though that's so obviously untrue, it's that levity that it brings to the situation. And I think that Astral was really missing that yesterday. And to get that in game 1 here is critical.
Hopefully.